Habibi, would you give up the 2 cups for Ten Hag to go?
I would never give up a trophy, bro. Just how the same way we were playing the FA Cup final, I put all my quote unquote agendas to the side because I wanted to win that day. But apparently I have agendas. And I only want to suit my agendas because I'm a clout chaser.
Can I ask you a more difficult question?
See my tweets that day of the FA Cup final, by the way.
Can I ask you a more difficult question than that?
Yeah, sure.
Would you give up those 2 trophies? I can wave a magic wand. Those 2 trophies disappear. No one on earth remembers Man United won them. We didn't win them. Done. You don't even remember we won them. We've won no trophies in the last 2 years, but we're now good enough to compete for the foreseeable future against Man City to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
Would you swap at the chance of winning a Premier League?
Yeah, I would.
No guarantee of winning it. No guarantee.
I'll still do it. Because I grew up on United competing for the league anyways. So I'd rather risk 2 cups with the chance of winning a league. 100%. Anyone with a brain should accept that. Because I'll get deluded to the point where trust me, if we're in a title race, these people have never seen that side of me. If we're actually a serious team, trust me, I'll be completely different. The ops will hate me way too much. I'll be absolutely bad. I would be 100% deluded that we're going to win it.
But if you don't win it, then it just means nothing, doesn't it?
It's worth a try. Life is about risks, isn't it, Lawless, right? Sometimes you got to take reasonable risks. Would you risk a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup for the chance of winning the league? No guarantees? 100%. 100% I would do it. Just for that journey alone of competing for the league and thinking we could win it, I'll 100% do that.
See, Dean here says, so competing for the league and never winning it over trophies. That isn't what's being said.
You didn't say there's no guarantee we won't win it.
So again, I understand the gamble, and maybe it's because I'm a Man United fan and I've seen us lift a lot of trophies. So I think depending upon the club you support, that question may sit differently with you. I think maybe a Tottenham fan, I think maybe a West Ham fan would say, do you know what? I'm taking those 2 trophies. I haven't seen many in the last 40, 50 years. However, I'm of the thought that if you're someone that for the foreseeable future, let's say the next 5 years, are going to be in and around as good as this Man City team, there is then a conceivable chance in that period that you're going to win at least 2 trophies, but you could win the league. I would probably take the gamble of being good enough to win the league, but no guarantees we're going to get over the line, versus where we are now. I think if a genie came out of a bottle or my guardian angel came down from the sky and said you can have whatever wish you want in the world, but it has to be football related, but you can't wish for yourself to be as good as Lionel Messi, because that would be my first wish. Why would you not? I'd like to be on the pitch myself. I might take that, and go, if that was an option, I might take it. By the way, I wouldn't ever wish to just win all the trophies, because if it's just your wish making it come true, it would take all the joy away. Like we've all cheated on computer games when we were younger. It never feels as good when you lose that final of the FA Cup or Champions League on Football Manager. You turn it off and start again, and you win. It never feels as good. I've done it when I was little.
To get the Champions League, because what that could lead to of some genuine joy down the line. Because boom, West Ham won the Champions League, or Man United. Boom, we got money.
But that's the question. So, yeah, if I was to say to you now, Lawless, to phrase a question this way: so this season you could win the FA Cup, or you could get into the top 4, but you would be a team next season genuinely capable of winning the Champions League. Which are those 2 options? You can only pick those 2 options. And if you win the FA Cup next year, it can be the same West Ham, like middle of the road team. But the other option is you might win the Champions League. Which option you taking?
That's so tough for West Ham fan. I think I would lean towards the latter because, right, I've seen the trophy now. I've experienced the trophy. So if you'd have asked me a couple of years ago, I might have gone with the FA Cup. As much as I love it. To see West Ham like in the Champions League, in the conversations for winning the league, like that would be amazing. So I think as hard as that is, I would have to go with that one.
Yeah. I'm the same. I think I wouldn't get rid of trophies just to be a good footballing team. So if someone said football looks amazing forever, but no guarantees of winning, and give up some trophy, I wouldn't do that because it just looking pretty means nothing. But if I knew as a guarantee you're going to be, again, I'm talking. Remember the context here. Almost as good, in and around as good as City. I think I might take that for the next 4 or 5 years to see where we get as an example. But
and the match you didn't even say, because I see this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of losers that that are trying to cook my opinion in the chat, but when I say losers, it's because they never seen their team win anything. I'm safe for me to say that I've seen enough Premier Leagues that most of these guys will never see supporting their teams unless they're a City fan. Anyways, the reason I agree to that is not because Terry said, "Hey, would you give up trophies to be a top 14?" That's not what he said. He said,
Nope.
"Would you give up those 2 trophies for a chance to win the Premier League?" Now, there's
It's like
something
Who Wants
in
to
life
Be a
that's called
Millionaire,
risk.
right? Got that?
I'm sorry.
You know, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where it's like, okay, you've won the 250,000.
Yeah.
But,
do you want to risk that
you
for
want to go for the
something?
next bit.
Exactly.
You've got to put this on the line.
Some people are just
And it's-
boring. We've given 2 options. Sorry to interject. We've given 2 options. I understand in the ideal world, you want to keep the trophies and be good enough to compete. That's what you want. But we're playing a little game. And that, when you were younger, what would you rather be? Like a bear or a tiger? If you responded with, no, I just like being a human, you're a boring person. Like, that's not the game. So the game is, and so someone here says you don't get a trophy for competing for a trophy, but no one said you did. That wasn't the question that was asked. That wasn't the point. And again, you could gamble and lose in this. You could gamble, and actually I've changed it now. You're the only one who knows that those trophies have been taken away. That way the jeopardy's on you if it goes wrong. That's the gamble. I'm asking, you've got those 2 trophies. Would you gamble for more, or would you accept what you've got? I think it's a good question. A good little game to play. I want to hear from you in the comments section below. Some super chats here. First one says, I agree with you. Habibi, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Diallo. You're not a loser. You actually have a winning mentality.
Now, D's very good, by the way. D's a great guy. Another great super chatter of the Football Terrace is Joshua Jack, who says, and that's why when football fans mention about playing for the badge, I find it funny. You have a player, Scott, who gives 100%, yet you want him out, but you back a player like Sancho who don't give a F.
How do you know he didn't give a fuck? Because Ten Hag told you he didn't. I just refuse to be a sheep. I'm sorry. That's all it is.
Good. That's the thing that.
But this, do you know what Lola should bang on? What's happened to the Man United fan base is because of 11 years of bollocks and shit and toxicity. The debates are sort of like the answer to a lot of these debates are sort of like half cooked in the sense of, no, I do want someone that plays for the badge. I don't care the motivation. It could be the money. It could be the prestige. It could be to win trophies. It could be because they love Man United. Whatever. I don't really care what the reason is. You want them to give 100%. But I also want them to be better than Scott McTominay. And the problem is, for me, it's never been... By the way, I would take 11 Scott McTominay starting with the dedication they've got and Andy's ability versus 11 Angel Di Marias who don't really want to be there. Because I still think the lesser players that are working hard will achieve more than a team of people that don't want to be at a football club, typically speaking. But you want the combination of the two. But we've just been in such crap for a club of our size and stature and what we spend for so long that the debates end up being, I always find them to be micro penis competitions. It's like, no, the players that are really talented that didn't really, like that. We know for a fact now that Alexis Sanchez didn't want to be here. We know Di Maria didn't want to be here. I want that quality with the desire for the club that you get from a Scott McTominay. I don't want any of those players, as in those individuals. Does that make sense? I've always felt that's the kind of answer to a lot of these questions. But no, it's like the whole, do you want to play nice football or do you want to win? Ideally, both. But I'd rather play bad football and win than good football and not win. But I want to play nice football and win football matches. And
I hate that question. Like, West Ham fans got asked it so much, and it's like it's mutually exclusive. Like, bad football wins, good football doesn't. So what would you rather? Like, it would frustrate the life out of me. Like, you can't play good football and win. It's ridiculous,
mate. No, it is crazy to me.